Hello everybody, this is your girl Carolyn and you're watching Cooking with Carolyn. Today we're making collard greens with smoked turkey wings and cornbread. Sounds simple? It is. Let me go over here and start the cornbread. In the bowl I'm just going to start off with some regular cornmeal and I'm going to go ahead and sift in the rest of the dry ingredients, okay? So that's going to be about a cup of flour, and that's all-purpose flour. And you want to sift it because you want some nice air into the flour, and then you'll catch any kind of, like the pebbles, the little flour pebbles that end up at the bottom. You can sift those through. We have some baking powder, okay, and some sugar just to sweeten it up a bit. And then a little bit of salt, about a half a teaspoon. Just going to sift that through. And see, here come those pebbles we were talking about just a minute ago. Alright, and you can just take a spatula or your hand and just kind of push that through. Alright, so we have our nice and airy dry mix. Let me give it a quick little stir. Then I'm going to make a well right in the middle and put the wet ingredients. Alright, now to this I am going to add some vegetable oil, cream corn. I had this cornbread, my mom made this cornbread once by accident. And it actually just kind of stuck with me. I like the moisture that it gave to the cornbread. 1 beaten egg. And the last ingredient we're going to add is some buttermilk. Okay. Let me pour the buttermilk in here. And then I'll add the beaten egg. And we can give it a stir. Just lightly beat it. It doesn't have to be too perfect. Okay. Alright, just start from the middle and just incorporate the wet and the dry together from the side. Okay, so I gathered up everything with the whisk. Just give it one last final fold just to make sure everything is incorporated. And then I'm just going to pour it in an 8x8 buttered dish. And sometimes when you read recipes it'll say a prepared pan or something like that. And prepared, what they mean is buttered, or some recipes will tell you to butter and flour the dish. This cornbread, you only need to butter it. It'll be fine. Just give it a nice little spread around. Now we're going to go into the oven at 425 degrees. It's already preheated waiting for me. For about 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take this to the oven. And then we'll get started on our collard greens. Okay, you know me and my turkey. I got my 2 turkey wings this time in the pot with a quart of chicken stock and then 3 cups of water. And that's just going to add a nice depth of flavor. Okay, so let me bring up one of these turkey wings just so you can see. This is after you let it simmer for about an hour or so by itself before you even put the greens in. All right, and then you're going to cook it. You're going to cook the greens another hour. Okay, with them, the meat is just going to fall off the bone and they'll just come away clean for you. Alright, so let's talk about collard greens. Good for you. High in vitamins and minerals, calcium. And they come now, depending on what part of the country you live in, they come in some different ways. Some grocery stores will have them still, they have the leaves, nice big leaves that come in a bunch. When I was a little kid, the bunches used to be so big. Now they're like $3, $4 and they're really, really small. So you can either buy the bunches or you can buy them in the bags. And this is a 12-ounce bag. This is 3 of these 12-ounce bags. Okay, so what I did, I don't care what greens you get, you need to clean them really good. All right, even though the bags say clean, you still want to fill up one of your sinks with cold water and put your greens in there and let any of the sand or dirt that's on them will fall to the bottom. And then put it over in your other sink in some nice cold water. Let any residue sand, because there may be some in there even if it's in the bag. So you want to make sure you do that. Okay? So this is 3 of those bags. So when you're dealing with a whole green, the leaf itself, you take the stem out. Right? Okay. Then what you would do is roll the green up and you just slice it. Now, when they process them, sometimes they don't take out the entire stem, so you'll end up with some of these thick stems in your bags. So what I've done is kind of just gone through earlier And I took out those stems, the kinds that were too big and I didn't want in my greens. I just went out, you know, through these bags and picked them out myself. But will the stems hurt you if they end up in your pot? No, they won't. They just take a little bit longer to cook. You see how thick they are and woodsy. So they just take a little bit longer. So it's not going to hurt you if you end up with some in there. So let's go over with them to the pot of our smoky, simmering smoked turkey wings, and I'm just going to put them in. Now, greens cook down. Probably once you're done with this will probably be enough for about 6 servings. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, I'm not going to get all these into the pot. Yes, you will. Don't worry. Just get them in there and then push them down. All right. So, got some in there. Now let's put the rest of them in. Now, to these greens, we're going to add some more flavor because collard greens are, how do you say, let me see, rather kind of thick, and they need some time to cook, depending on how old they are too. If they are mature greens and they get really, really big, the more you let them grow, they'll get really, really big and they'll get really, really thick. So that means you'll need more time to cook them. If they're younger, then they're more tender. They don't need that much cooking time. And that's what these are. These are a little bit younger, so they don't need as much. So what I'm going to add to these is some of the ingredients that, you know, I've grown up using, and that is some pepper sauce vinegar, and that's the vinegar right off of those California peppers that you buy in the store. It's kind of spicy, and if you don't like that kind of vinegar, you can use apple cider vinegar or whatever vinegar that you're comfortable with. And the vinegar, what it does is help add some acidity, okay, to help break the greens down a little bit. All right, so I'm going to add some of this vinegar from the peppers. And I'm going to add some of the peppers too. You don't have to do that. Okay. I'm going to add some of these peppers. About 3 will do. And then I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of sugar. Now, a couple of tablespoons of sugar is not going to sweeten them, but it's just going to balance the flavor that we have in here. We have the vinegar going on, and then the greens collard greens are sort of bitter. Not too bitter, but they can be. But what this does is just balance everything out. And then I'm going to add some garlic. Okay, so I'm just going to give this garlic, this is about 2 or 3 cloves. If you have really big ones, you can go with a couple of them. Okay, and just dump them in. They're going to give your greens a nice flavor. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to the pot. Remember, we used chicken broth, and that chicken broth, it was a low sodium chicken broth, so you don't have to add that much salt. So you got some seasoning already going on. So let's give this one last stir. So we're going to leave the greens in the pot and let them just simmer over here over medium or medium-high heat for about an hour. Let them do its thing, cover them up. You're good to go in a little while. So I have some greens already ready. So I'm going to plate them up, and I also have some cornbread that's ready. So we're going to put them up and I'll show you how to eat it. Alright, so here are our collard greens that are already done. Let me show you what one of these clean bones look like. Out of these, look. That's what that bone cooks down to. We're going to go around those and get some meat and some of these greens and put them on our plate. Now, if you're a person that older people call this juice in here pot liquor, okay? Or just the juice from the greens. Some people want it in a bowl because they want to take their cornbread and they want to sop it up. Or you can serve it on a plate. It's up to you. You'll have no complaints about, oh, that greens didn't have no meat. You'll have plenty, trust me. Especially with 2 turkey wings in here. All right, let's get a piece of the cornbread here. I'm going to go right for the middle piece. Right here. Now, my mom used to always just finish off your greens with a little bit of tomatoes and cut onion. Maybe a little hot sauce. You know how to do it. Some tomato. There you got it. Collard greens with smoked turkey wings and some cornbread. Make sure you go to 771tv.com and download these recipes and a whole lot more. And make sure you comment and subscribe. I'll see you next time right here on Cooking at Home with Carolyn.